Welcome to the Uptime Wind Energy Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Hall, along with my co-host, Joel Saxum. The U.S. wind industry needs to train thousands of new wind turbine technicians in the coming years to meet our ambitious goals for wind energy deployment. And today we're joined by Brandon McKelvain, Training Manager at Safety Technology USA, better known as STL. Also, Jeremy McKelvain, who is the WindStart Program Manager at Safety Technology USA. Safety Technology USA, which is commonly called STL for short, is a leading wind technician training organization that provides industry standard accredited courses. Their goal is to help build the wind workforce of the future by training safer, more competent entry-level and intermediate technicians. Joel and I visited the Safety Technology USA training facilities in Abilene, Texas recently. So if you haven't been to Abilene, you should visit their facility. It's pretty impressive. There we met with Brandon, and we're really impressed by the level of training equipment and the variety of training programs. So Brandon, Jeremy, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you, Alan.
We need thousands of wind technicians. And right now, especially in West Texas, where you guys are, there's a huge demand for technicians that are trained and are knowledgeable in the wind industry. And, you know, one of the programs you have to do that is the WindStart program. And I want to start there because I want everybody to understand what is the WindStart program. And if you want to get into wind, why would you choose that program?
What we do is we go out to career fairs, trade schools, community college, and advertise WindStart. Yes, it is STL or safety technology, but it's a program for it. We get them interested and tell them what we offer through our WindStart program at Safety Technology, get them interested, and then get them signed up for these classes, give them their relevant training, all their certifications, give them some extra training as well that's a little bit more technical to prepare them for an entry-level job into the wind industry, and then connect them with our partners that we have, our customers that we have, for interviews, try and get them hired on right away. I mean, you mentioned that we have thousands of people that we need to hire. By 2030, it's estimated that we need to hire close to 500,000 bodies for the wind industry. So doing this as a WindStart program, as the manager, go in and we try and find those bodies. You get good paying jobs. You have a reliable career. And for me, my whole thing was I love helping people. I love helping people and guiding people. I've done it for 20 years in the Air Force. Now I just transitioned into this. So that's what the WindStart program is a way to introduce people into the wind industry. I mean, let's be real. Let's face it. Renewable energy is the way of the future. And through Safety Technology, we can train those people through the WindStart program and get them in an amazing career in wind as a wind technician.
So you guys are going to high schools, community colleges. What other kind of community outreach do you guys do? Because you're actually being like the boots on the ground, going and grabbing these people, because that's what the industry needs, right? We know there's training centers kind of dotted all over the place, but that effort to actually be the people that are going in, talking to who could be these candidates and bringing them in to get them to that training, that's what's really needed. So you guys are actually doing the boots on the ground activities as well.
I went to one in Roswell, New Mexico last week that was for the Job Corps, for students, young people who were either didn't finish high school and are going back to finish their diploma, get their GED, and learn some trade. They reached out and wanted to see if we could attend. And I went, and those people, they were extremely excited to see me. The students were, but also the director of the Job Corps and some of their instructors that taught their electrical training, their painting, their construction, their plumbing. It's just getting our voice out there, our name out there, and getting people interested to basically spread the word on wind.
So who is your typical candidate? What's their background, education level? What are they looking to do to further their career?
A lot of them know people, either friends or family that have been in the wind industry, and they know about it. They want to do it. They just don't know how to get into it. Or we'll have recent high school graduates or people that did not finish a 4-year degree that want a job, want a good, reliable, good paying job with benefits, just like our partners have. And those are the ones that really seem to pique the interest. Somebody that wants to make something, make a better life for themselves and their families.
And are they primarily based in Texas, or are they coming from elsewhere?
Right now, we have traveled mainly through Texas and New Mexico, but I have had people reach out to me from Illinois, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Iowa, South Africa. I've had people from the UK reach out. I mean, we're not going to discriminate. And that's one of my big things that I definitely learned in the military is like provide people a chance. Diversity makes your workforce. And so different points of view, work ethics, like that's what we want. We want to give people a chance. We want to give them the tools to succeed in what we're doing and what we can provide.
Yeah, so right now we're talking about the WindStart program. So when someone goes into the WindStart program, what can they expect as far as costs, the actual education they come out of there, any certifications they come out with, and the length of time, so that if they're listening and go, okay, I understand basically what's required of me and what I'll leave the program with.
Well, our WindStart program has a couple of different options. We offer a 3-week course and a 4-week course. Our 3-week course focuses around the GWO certifications, the Global Wind Organization certifications. You get your basic safety training, your basic technical training, your advanced rescue training, and then you get to take an elective. Now that 4-week course, you're going to get all of those things as well, but you're also going to get an additional 5 days that focuses more on your technical training, your electrical, your mechanical, your hydraulics, things like that. That's going to be a little bit more industry specific, which everything really is. But that's going to give you a little bit more. But that's our 4-week course.
So they may not come out of there as an expert, but at least they've been exposed to. It's going to not be the first time they've heard the word hydraulic or electric motor or something. When they get to the field, right? They'll seen it before, and they may have some working knowledge of it, and be that new team member that is going to need to be trained up in the real world. But they're not coming in completely green. They've got all their safety certs. They're ready to hit the field, and they've been exposed to the general concepts within a wind turbine. So to me, they'll be steps ahead, right? Light years ahead of someone that's just walking off the street.
The WindStart program, it really it hits home to me personally, because what Jeremy's talking about, that was me. I wasn't going to go to school for 4 years. I was not suited well for that. Didn't want anything to do with school, but I needed a good paying job. I wasn't. I needed to get out and work. And that's the other thing is, to go to a 2-year trade school or something like that, that also wasn't in the cards for me. I needed something quick. I needed to just get in. And, fortunately, I was hired, right out of high school, but I was just kind of thrown off into the deep end, and there wasn't good training for me for the first few years and whatnot. And then I linked up with a better company, and I got the good training. And I grew up around a shop atmosphere and, things like that. So, I knew mechanics and all that good stuff. My dad was a mechanic, owned a shop, and so I knew some stuff. But when it came to things like electricity, I knew nothing, and I had no business being out there. So we kind of come at it from a unique perspective. All of our instructors here have, most of them have over 10 years of field experience in this industry, and they really know what the competencies are and what we need. And all of us kind of have that same perspective of, man, I wish I would have known this a long time ago. I wish I would have known this day one. These are the fundamentals. Why isn't anybody teaching us these things, you know? And it's simple stuff, you know, like schematics, digital multimeters, you know, just very basic fundamental things that we've tried to push into the WindStart program. You know, for us, it's the experience of this is what we feel like is the most pertinent information to get into 3-4 weeks. And that's going to build safety, but it also kind of triggers a base for them to start growing as technicians. And those are the things we really want to focus on.
So Brandon, now we've been talking about the WindStart program, but when Alan and I visited the facility, there was a lot more than that going on. Actually, matter of fact, we visited 2 facilities, right? We visited a brand new training center that you guys were building out for more technical side of things. I mean, there was a freaking gearbox in there. You had awesome setups for you know, in bore scope inspections, and you had cabinets for, you know, electrical training and all kinds of tools. That was a great facility. But the first one we were at, all kinds of training going on, advanced rescue. You had mock-ups of nacelles where people had to you know, basically pull what would be a body. I'm going to call it a dummy. Not that none of us are dummies, but they had to pull them through. You know, a whole tower set up out back for rescue training, and, you know, going over. We talked at length about, you know, that last step, going over the edge when you're descending on ropes. But you had all kinds of other training things, and the whole parking lot was full. I mean, there was people from crane companies and service companies, ISPs, doing all kinds of different safety training, CPR stuff. So you want to touch on some of the other things that you guys offer as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Jeremy said, the GWO, the basic technical, the basic safety, the advanced rescue. We do a lot of QEW, qualified electrical worker training for low voltage, high voltage, based on the 2024 version of 70E. That's really popular, and honestly, that's become one of my favorite courses out there, because I think that's one of the things that the industry isn't doing that great of a job, at least in terms of execution. So that one's great. But yeah, you know, the technical facility, we're starting to build out more advanced courses, gearbox bore scope class. We're working on adding a 3-phase motor control class. So I think that's going to be very beneficial. That's another thing that I think is lacking a little bit as far as the education for our technicians, because we deal with a lot of 3-phase, and I'm just speaking from experience, but I didn't understand 3-phase the way I should, you know. So there we are again. You know, we're looking back at things that, you know, really would have helped us as technicians, not only from a safety perspective, but also to just grow and develop. You know, those are the things we're trying to focus on. And, you know, as we continue to build out those more advanced courses, that's great. But really the WindStart is that, okay, what's day one? You know, what does it take to get somebody, say, out of high school or who wants to change career paths, somebody coming out of oil and gas, you know, or a veteran coming out of the, you know, services. What does it take to get them, you know, not only safe, but also kind of start introducing them to these concepts that they're really going to need as a technician in wind?
The facility, if I'm coming into a training facility, one of the scary parts here is, does it have the latest equipment? Do they have classrooms that are upkept and clean? And do they have even the fundamentals, like, is there restrooms? You know, those kind of silly things matter if you're going to be there for 3 or 4 weeks. If you're going to be there for a day, not matter so much. But and when Joel and I took the tour of both facilities, clean, up-to-date, modern, had all the proper equipment, particularly all the like the voltmeters and all that kind of thing, borescopes, new. The equipment that's being used out in the real world. So it's not such a huge jump where you're going from the classroom to an actual turbine. That's the stuff they're using, and you're putting your hands on it. And as a new entry into that wind turbine technician world, you need that, right? You need to be familiar with the equipment they're using out there. And I think this is where your training makes total sense for someone who's coming into the industry that probably has mechanical skills, has some electrical skills, as we see the new technicians roll in, but they haven't played with the fancy toys yet.
That may be the downfall. You guys' stuff may be too advanced and too nice for them. They're gonna get out into a turbine and be like, "This wasn't what it was like when I was in training."
But we can take them out of the tower whenever it's 110 degrees, then they get a good experience.
Wait for a dust storm to roll through Abilene and then go outside. Come on, guys.
No, we really appreciate that, and again, I think that's the that's the fidelity of this, and that's why the experience really matters, and coming from the industry, and it's certainly not me. We've got some really good instructors here, and the secret is I'm a C- guy myself, right? So if they can get their delivery to where I can understand what they're teaching, hey, we're doing really good, and we have a good product,
Well, Brandon, I want to get to that point because I do think people downgrade themselves based on what happened in high school. And I think that's a tragic mistake. If you're a C+ student in high school, it has really no influence on what you're going to do going forward, right? It's time to pick up that heavy load and put that on your back and do the right thing here. You can get educated. The people I mean, the technicians are smart people, right? And they may not understand calculus, but who the heck cares?
They make computers for that.
Yeah, right. To each their own. But the thing is, like Joel and I spent a good couple of weeks in Oklahoma and Texas meeting a whole bunch of technicians. Like, those guys are doing all right. A lot of them are doing great. It can be a great profession, and you don't have to have a perfect high school score to get in, to learn how to do electrical work, learn how to do mechanical work, to learn how to climb a turbine. Those things are skills. Those are your hands and your brains working together, which is a talent still.
Yeah, and and this was something that really changed me whenever I got into the training. Was you realize exactly what you said. High school, even college, is really no basis to what you can do is in terms of performance in your career. Because a lot of that is focused around teacher-centered learning, lectures, and things like that, which are great for some people, but not for a lot of us, especially the ones that are going to be more technician, more hands-on, go into more vocational schemes, right? So we try to make things as student-centered as possible. That's where all those tools and the meters and all that stuff comes in, because if you're putting those on the desk and they have something to touch and to follow along with, and then at the end of it they have a knowledge check to where they can go out in the shop and they can try to implement the knowledge that you're trying to give them. It's great, and that's not only that's just adult learners in general, I think, because we have good experience. You're not dealing with people that have nothing. You can find something that they know that they're already really sharp at, and we try to just build on that.
Well, and like you said, all of your trainers are ex-technicians, so they've been through it. They've been in that position before. They've been in the turbine. It's not like you're listening to an HR professor teach you about HR that's never actually worked in HR. You know what I mean? And I guarantee that almost all of you can be on the same page as this one. Is sometimes an asset owner will send some of their engineers from the back office out to the field to go visit the turbines. Those people need their hands held by the technicians that are out there doing the work when they go up tower. And you know this.
Hands in your pockets. Hands in your pockets.
So let's talk about how people can get enrolled at STL, either in the WindStart program or some of your GWO training that's there. How does that happen? What's the best steps to get started here?
Yeah, if people want to sign up, they can go to our website. We have a tab dedicated to the WindStart program. Very short information that they fill out, and then somebody gets in contact with them, gives them a lot of good detail on the program, which is also available on the website. But if they have any questions or want to talk to somebody, Jeremy will be reaching out to them or somebody else.
Yeah, one of the things I want to touch on here as well is there is some financial assistance available. So through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, there's a possibility of up to $4,500 towards course fees. There's also some Sally Mae funding eligible. And then you guys actually, I believe, because of the IRA bill, are working forward towards getting that apprenticeship program going that will fulfill that for people in the field as well.
That is correct. And those are all things that we're super excited about because we recognize that not everybody can do this, financially, and You look, I mean, let's be honest, we are targeting people that want to get out there quickly and start working, right? So they probably, they're ready to go make some money. So if we can assist them in any way, that's exactly what we want to try to do. And, we're already starting to do that right here in our own backyard. Abilene is, I call it the wind capital of Texas, and so like you guys said, there's a lot of technician jobs just in West Texas. So let's start right here, so, we're starting to reach out to as many people as we can and just letting them know. And, Jeremy touched on it earlier. I think a lot of it is, there's plenty of people that want into the industry, but they have no clue where to start. If you think about it this way, probably the top 5 employers that have the most technicians in the U.S., if you weren't in the industry, you probably have no clue who they are. I could say some really big names to you guys, and sure, yeah, I know all about them. But if I say it to somebody who's getting out of high school or is just outside the industry in general, they go, okay, that's cool, but they have no clue. Some of them, they go, oh, I didn't know they did that. I thought they just made microwaves, right? So, and you guys you can deduce who I'm talking about. But I mean, that's kind of the point, and so I think that's why things like the WindStart program and what Jeremy's doing, this grassroots approach of, he's, my heart goes out to him because it's got to be frustrating, because he's going out there and he's having these same conversations again and again, but that's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. I don't know how else you do it, unless you start running ads in the Super Bowl or something, but that's...
We'll wait to see that next year. But you guys are also doing you're helping buy side, sell side, right? So all the companies, the big ones that we're talking about, whether it's an OEM or a big ISP or anybody, they're looking for people, contact STL as well, because not only can you get your people that you have trained, but they're bringing in a pool, and Jeremy becomes basically one of your best recruiters that you actually don't pay for, because he's going out grassroots, grabbing the people, getting them trained, and then basically can provide you a portfolio of, hey, all these guys or girls ready to hit the field. You want some of them? And they're already vetted. They already have a little bit of training. So if I was an ISP, I'd be contacting you guys.
Absolutely. And that's the idea. People can scoop them up as they come through the program and they've had some financial assistance. Hey, that's even better for the companies, because otherwise they're going to hire them without experience and then send them here anyway, probably. Right. So it's a win-win for everybody. And that's what we're trying to do. Jeremy mentioned that 500K number, which just is crazy to me every time I hear that, but this is all we know to do, to try to start chipping away at that, and hopefully everybody else gets on board with that. Start talking to your neighbors, start in your own community. There's plenty of hardworking people out there. I worked some really hard jobs growing up. Did some rebar, roofing, construction, things like that, and it makes you appreciate, finding a good job, finding a good career, so I know there's a lot of hardworking talent out there, and what we're teaching isn't rocket science, it's, you can get it as deep into it as you want, but at an entry level for a wind tech, you can pick this stuff up pretty easy. You just need a good work mentality. You got to show up and be a hard worker and listen and learn, and that's it. You can do really good.
Like you said, Brandon, we have a lot of technicians that need to fill that void, and there are several good paying jobs available right now. So if you get trained up, you can be part of the wind revolution that's happening in Texas and all around the United States. So reach out to everybody at STL by going to the website at safetytechnologyusa.com. Brandon, Jeremy, it's been great to have you on the program, and yeah, keep us up to date as things progress, because the wind technician shortage needs to end, and you're part of that fix.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Joel.